We're in for a big surprise today. I'm going to cook McCall's beef stew. It's the best you ever had. Stay tuned. You can't get this recipe online because McCall's does not publish their recipes, but I have a good one for you today. So we're going to start cooking. We're going to start off with 3 pounds of beef stew meat. I'm using London broil because it was not $6.19 a pound. It was $2.99 a pound. So I'm going to cut this in 1.5 inch cubes and put it in the flour with some salt and pepper. We're going to put it in the pan and saute it in butter, brown it in butter. So let's get started. Guaranteed this will be the best beef stew you ever had in your whole entire life. I've cut my London broil up. You can just ask anybody in my family. It is so good. We used to make this when we were kids, and we had 5 kids in the family, and this beef stew only lasted 1 day, if that. So you just want to take your ground beef and put the flour around it, dredge it in the flour, and then we're going to start browning this up. It's going to be so good. You're not going to believe it. I've coated all my beef, and I'm going to put a little extra salt and pepper on this and mix it around. And I use pink Himalayan salt and just a pepper grinder medley. And I'm taking about a tablespoon of butter. Don't skimp on the butter because I made it one time with margarine when butter went up to like $6 a pound, and I made it with margarine and it ruined it. So get a good Dutch oven pot. I got this at an antique store and they're really good. I think I don't know what the brand is, but it's like hammered steel. Here's the lid. Oh, I wanted to show you. I bought this little container, stackable containers. And there's 5 of them. I saw it at the thrift store. It's like, do you know what this is used for? I asked the lady. She said no. So I said, how much is it? And she said 50 cents. So I brought it home, and it's called a camping traveling container to take your, you can take hot and cold food and put it in there. So I'm going to put my muffins in there and carry them. So, waiting for the butter to melt. I put it on like medium high because you want to brown the beef fast and keep the juices inside. This is going to be so good. So this is what we're doing right now. I'll just read the instructions to you. Roll beefs in flour mixed with salt and pepper, coating evenly on all sides. Reserve remaining flour mixture for later. In hot butter in a 6-quart Dutch oven, brown beef well on all sides, turning with tongs. Do not overcrowd. As the beef is browned, remove and set aside. Continue browning the rest. Takes 30 minutes in all to give a rich flavor and brown color. So, we're going to continue with this. It's going to smell amazing. I'm telling you, I'm really improvising around here. These are the only tongs I have. Look how big they are. They're for my grill. But that's okay. Just improvise is the name of the game for everything. So I'm going to put a little bit more salt and pepper on here, and I'll be right back. Waiting for the butter to brown and cook my beef. I cut up all the leaves from a celery stalk. Stalk a head of celery. Whatever. It calls for a half a cup of these celery leaves. So when you're going to buy the celery, look for some celery that has a lot of leaves on it. Don't get the ones that are all cut up, because this is a lot where this is where the flavor is. So it also calls for some thyme, and I actually did. I went to the International store in Winchester, Virginia. They had the coolest stuff there. Crazy stuff, but cool. But I bought all of these thyme leaves for $1.78, and they're really fresh. I've never used the fresh thyme, but I think that's going to be good, because the next step, after we brown all the beef and take it out of the pot, we're going to add a bay leaf. There's 1.5 teaspoons of dried thyme leaves, but I'll just use a stalk. 1 small onion, and here's the trick. You take the onion and put 4 cloves in there. And count how many cloves you put in there, because when you start to eat the beef stew, you sure don't want to ruin the flavor by biting into a clove, because my kids always say, "Mom, how many cloves did you put in there?" Because you really don't want to bite into the clove. And then 2 parsley sprigs. And so after we brown the beef, we're going to take it out, and then we're going to put all these seasonings, and we're going to toss to coat the seasonings. Toss the coat with drippings, and then we're going to add 4 cups of water to that. Just wait. So we're going to brown the beef, and then we're going to take these seasonings and coat it with the drippings. It's going to be so good. And it's going to look like that with parsley dumplings. I've made this beef stew 1,000,000 times. If you could just smell this right now. Yum. So I used about 2 tablespoons for this batch. It's going to take probably about 3 batches. So all in all, I use about a stick of butter. Can you smell it yet? It'll be so good. It takes like 3.5 hours to make, but it's worth it. It really is. You're going to enjoy it. I know you will. Now the beef's getting nice and brown. Just make sure that you sear all the sides to keep the juices inside. Just be sure you get a nice good sear on there. So we want to seal in the juices. Now while I'm browning the meat, I'm going to take about 4 medium onions. I like a lot of carrots because they're so sweet in a stew. I have like 5 gigantic carrots. And I'm going to use about 6 potatoes. These are russets. I don't think it really matters what kind you use. And I take about 5 celery stalks. And we're going to stuff onion. Now I have an onion here. I usually put about 6 cloves in mine. Just stick the cloves in there. But believe me, you don't want to eat them. Remember what they look like. You don't want to eat them. So I'm going to put 6 in here. You can put how many you want. It calls for 4. But I'm going to put 6 in there. And I'm going to start doing my vegetables over there. Now the thing about cooking this stew, you'll notice like all my pieces aren't exact. It doesn't always have to be exact when you're cooking. It's all going to taste good. And now this recipe calls for 1 bay leaf, 1.5 teaspoons of dried thyme. I use the stalk of the the fresh thyme, a half a cup of celery tops. I use whatever is on the celery. 1 small onion stuck with 4 cloves. I put 6 in there. 2 parsley sprigs. I use about 1/4 of the parsley bunch. 1 pound of small yellow onions, 1 pound of carrots, 1.5 pounds of new potatoes, 2 medium white turnips. I'm going to try turnips the next time. My sister used them and she said it turned out really good. And 1.5 cups of celery cut in 1-inch pieces. So I'm browning the last of my beef. And this won't get tough because it's going to stew for a few hours. So I have my onion stuffed with 6 cloves. I have like a couple bay leaves. Get some good organic ones. I got the cheapos. They're all dried up. And then the celery leaves and the thyme. And then I'm going to put in quite a bit of parsley. I've browned all my meat. So I'm going to put all my spices in there. And this is what really makes the stew. When you put spices in while it's hot, like even when you're making like spaghetti, when you heat up the spices, they release their flavors. We're just going to cook this a little bit. Get all that good drippings from the bottom. That'll come up when you put the, we're going to put 4 cups of water in there. I'm going to go get my water and we'll be back. Okay, my friend, here I bought some thyme for $1.70. What did I put in my stew? I put the rosemary in, but that's okay because some recipes are okay when you make a mistake. So I'm going to put a few sprigs of thyme in here and we'll see how. I'm sure it's going to taste absolutely wonderful. Now this stew is just getting ready. I just put 4 cups of water in here and it's just getting ready to boil. We're going to simmer it for 2 hours, stirring occasionally. Now if you can see this nice gravy it's already making. This is the most flavorful, wonderful, delicious beef stew you've ever had in your life. And if you make a mistake, it's no big deal. It's just like coloring. Go outside the lines. I always improvise. That's the name of the game. Now while my stew is simmering, I'm going to start and prepare my vegetables. And I usually just cover them with water just to, they absorb that water. It just makes it a little bit better. Just one of my little tricks. There's one ingredient that I left out of this recipe. And I guess you can all guess that it's love. And when you're cooking, make sure you're in a good mood, because your emotions really do come out in the food. If you're in a bad mood and you're cooking that stew, it's not going to taste good. Believe me. I'll tell you about this little experiment towards the end of the video. So I'll tell you about a story. I was making my grandmother's chocolate mocha almond cake from scratch. And it was a little bit complicated. And this guy called me up that I did not want to talk to. I told him I did not want to talk to him. He was like not a very spiritual, didn't have a whole lot of good energy coming from him. And I said, I'm going to have to call you back because I'm in the middle of making this really complicated cake. And he didn't want to get off the phone. And I mentioned his name and it's 3:33. Imagine that. So I made the cake. I don't know what happened to it. I had to start it all. I had to throw that cake away because there was bad energy. So when you're cooking, make sure you're in a good mood and you're making it with love. Here we go, my friends. It's about halfway done. I just wanted to let you take a look at it. Look at that nice gravy. Guess you all want to see Teddy, huh? We'll do a little Teddy time. Teddy! Where's my boy? There he is. He's so happy. I gave him a little haircut so you can see his pretty eyes. And I trimmed his beard and his mustache. Teddy, he's being shy today. All right, my friends, it looks like we're almost done. Well, we're gonna put in all the vegetables except for the celery, and we're gonna cook the potatoes, the onions and the carrots for 20 minutes. So I'm going to put the onions in. Potatoes and the carrots. Sometimes you have to add a little bit more water. That's okay. Water. My son, he's always like, it's not water, Mom. It's like, well, I'm from Baltimore, hon. I grew up with, I'm going to go wash the windows in the zinc. So I just quartered these onions because they'll cook down, because you have to cook this for 20 minutes and then another 10 minutes and then another 20 minutes. Another 20 minutes for the dumplings, which I wanted to show you that. Got the potatoes. This is just, I have to say it again, the best beef stew in the world. I'm going to bring this up to a boil, but I think it's going to need a little bit more water, so I'm going to use the water that I have my vegetables soaking in. So I probably added about a good almost 2.5 cups of water. We're going to cook these for 20 minutes. So, we want to bring that to a boil. And let's see. And we're going to cook these covered. So I'm going to cover this up. And still have the celery left. And then I would strongly suggest you do not get Bisquick because they put in Cinemex, which is aborted fetuses for the flavoring. Sorry I had to tell you that. Please don't use Bisquick. So I got Pioneer Bisquick mix, and it's 2 cups of the Bisquick mix and 2/3 cup of milk. And I put some parsley in there. You have to have the parsley in the dumplings. So I will see you in a bit. So I have the vegetables cooking. I have another 8 minutes to go. Probably added a little bit too much water, but that's okay. Because we're going to thicken it up with our leftover flour. And we're going to make some dumplings. And please don't use Bisquick. They use Cinemex in there, which is aborted fetuses. So I'm buying Pioneer now. So it's 2 cups of Bisquick or biscuit mix and 2/3 cup of milk. So we still have 8 more minutes for this. Then we're going to add the celery and we're going to cook it for another 10 minutes. And then we're going to put the dumplings in there. And the trick is that you cook them uncovered for 10 minutes. And then you cover them up and cook them for another 10 minutes. And the little secret is don't peek during the last 10 minutes when they're covered up or they just won't turn out right. So, and I'm kind of thinking that maybe this London broil was not like the best choice for this beef stew. But Teddy ate 2 pieces and he liked it. So, it still has another, let's see, 10, 20, 30 minutes to go. So, hopefully this stew will start to flake up a little bit and tender up a little bit. But you know, you just live and learn. Maybe the stew meat probably had a little bit more fat in it. But we'll see. It won't go to waste, that's for sure. Right, I mix my dumplings up and you put like about a good tablespoon and a half at least and drop them into the pan, and you're going to cook these for 10 minutes uncovered and 10 minutes covered. And the trick is no peeky. Your stew is almost ready to be put in a big gigantic bowl with a dumpling with some butter on top. Can you smell that? Okay, those are 10 minutes. And we're going to cover it for 10 minutes, no peek. While I'm waiting for the, I don't know what that was. While I'm waiting for the dumplings to be done, I took the leftover flour and put a little bit of water in there, and that's going to thicken it up. And let's see, we got 131 left there. I'm going to put them here in my lasagna pan. Got the butter waiting. Got my plate waiting. And another good thing to know is, like, clean as you go. While you're cooking, clean up all the utensils and clean up the oven the stove top while you go. Just makes it easier. They actually use that at McDonald's. Clean as you go. It's a good rule of thumb. So, I should be almost done. Real quick, I wanted to talk to you about making your food with love. This lady took 3 cups, 3 different containers of cooked rice and left them in a container for, I think it was like 3 weeks. And one she labeled love, one she labeled ignore, and one she labeled hate. And after 3 weeks, I guess she talked to him, the one love, and said all kind of nice things to the rice. And the one ignored, she didn't do anything with. And the hate one, I guess she said, I hate you, I hate you. Look at that. And the jar of rice that had love, it was the same color as regular rice. And the one ignored, it had like one little mold spot on it. And the one with hate had all kind of mold all over it. Green, yellow, all kinds of yucky mold. So what I'm doing here, so that's why I was like, when you cook, cook with love. So I'm just taking my dumplings. And then we're going to thicken up the stew. So, sometimes it thickens up with the Bisquick. But I'm going to add some more. I thicken the stew up with the leftover flour. And my friends, it's time to eat beef stew, the best you've ever had in your whole entire life. Enjoy. God bless you. Have a great day. God loves you, each and every one of you. And be the reason somebody smiles today. Can't forget about Teddy.